Welcome to the Michael Buckner Law Firm Information Nuggets video series. My name is Michael Buckner, an attorney and private investigator with the Michael Buckner Law Firm. In this edition of the Information Nugget video series, we will review the essential elements of an institution's internal investigation self-report, which is submitted to the NCAA enforcement staff. An institution prepares a self-report after the conclusion of a comprehensive and objective internal investigation into alleged NCAA rules violations. The report should be submitted in writing. A self-report should include, at a minimum, 9 main sections. First, introduction. Second, overview of the findings. Third, summary of the institution's internal investigation. Fourth, findings of specific rules violations. Fifth, possible rules violations. Sixth, self-corrective measures and self-imposed penalties. Seventh, background information on the university and athletics department. 8, conclusion. And 9th and finally, the appendix. Now let's go through each of the 9 main sections of a self-report and list each of the elements of each of those 9 sections. The first section is the introduction, and that should include the purpose of the report and a case chronology, which includes significant dates that occurred during the investigation, including when it started and dates of significant interviews. The second section is the overview of the findings, and that part of the report should include identification of the types of violations and persons involved, the listing of including brief bios of all the involved individuals and parties, and also list any eligibility related information concerning any involved student athletes. The third section of the self-report is a summary of the institution's internal investigation. And that part of the report should include the investigation methodology, list of interview subjects, a description of how the institution contacted the interview subjects, and any evidence collected. The fourth section is the findings of specific rules violations. In that part of the report, the institution should cite for each rules violation the following: the specific NCAA bylaw that was violated, the date of the violation, the location of the violation, a description of what was violated, who was involved in the violation, how was the violation discovered, a summary of information developed during the investigation relating to the violation, any mitigating factors, and the cause of the violation. The fifth section is the possible rules violations. In that part of the report, the institution should list any possible violations that were discovered, reported, and investigated by the institution. And the institution should also list whether or not the institution believed that the violation, based upon the evidence collected, whether or not the violation did not occur, or there's not sufficient evidence to make a firm conclusion. The sixth section is self-corrective measures and self-imposed penalties. In that part of the report, the institution should list any measures undertaken to strengthen or correct the athletics program, as well as any penalties that were self-imposed by the institution or imposed by the conference office. The seventh section is background information on the university and the athletics department. In that part of the report, the institution should include a history of the university, what division that the institution is a member of, whether it be divisions 1, 2, or 3, the conference membership or memberships for the athletics program, the number of sports, the overview of the infractions history, and any other information that might be pertinent to the university and the athletics department. The eighth section is the conclusion section. In that part of the report, the institution should comment on any type of issue that might be relevant to the investigation that would tie up or summarize the institution's approach and beliefs in terms of violations that were discovered, summarized, and contained in the self-report. And finally, attached to the self-report should be the appendix. And in the appendix, the institution should include any athletically related information that the university believes the NCAA staff needs to process the case, as well as any pertinent evidence or any important documentation that was collected during the internal investigation. Now, let's go over some tips to avoid the most common errors when institutions prepare a self-report. Remember to, 1, follow the institution's internal investigation policy and procedure. 2nd, recognize and address all student eligibility issues. 3rd, provide all student athletes, institution employees, and athletics representatives a notice of their bylaw 10.1 obligations. 4th, submit all relevant information, including pertinent documents, data, and evidence that corroborates or refutes each alleged rules violation. Also remember to state the specific bylaws that were violated. Also state who reported the violation. And also describe the self-corrective measures and self-imposed penalties that relate to each alleged rules violation or each violation that was reported by the institution in the self-report. And finally, if your investigation determines no violation occurred, it is still a good idea to prepare a self-report and submit that report to the NCAA and conference staffs, especially if they have prior knowledge that an alleged rule violation was reported to the institution. If you have any questions concerning how to prepare a self-report or conducting an entire investigation, please do not hesitate to contact me at area code 954-941-1844 or via email at mbuckner@michaelbucknerlaw.com. For background on our law firm, our services, or to review our resources, please visit us at our website, www.michaelbucknerlaw.com, or you can visit on our blog or through our Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube pages. Thanks for joining us for this edition of the Information Nuggets video series.